All right, let's talk about they talk about unemployment. So let's talk about that. I know it's one of your favorite subjects.
Oh yeah.
And I learned something in life more recently. I've realized how much you have to work to live, to survive. Like now I'm fully on my own. I have my own house. I have to pay a mortgage. I'm doing my own show. I'm my own boss. It feels fantastic, but I'm working for it, and I work very hard for what I'm doing, and I want to be successful. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. I love what I do. I love you, chat. You guys show up for me. You guys are amazing. And when I see this, and when I've heard about all these people that are choosing to just remain on unemployment because it pays better than an actual job, it frustrates me, because there are people out there that might not be able to find a job or that want to work. And this is part of the reason. I mean, this proves why like a true socialist country or a communist country doesn't work, because there's always going to be someone lazy that doesn't want to do the work. Yeah. Everyone's supposed to have their equal share, right? Well, guess what? There will always be lazy people. There will always be people that aren't lazy but don't want to do the work and want you to do all the work for them. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I am all about working hard for my money, working hard and making the money. And when I get that, I'm like, I earned this money. You know, I used to model, okay? And I would get some jobs paid really well, and I didn't feel like I earned it, right? So I've gotten money in my life where it didn't feel like I earned it. And I've worked really hard pretty much the past year. So, you know, every ounce, every dollar that I've gained now, it's like, I earned this. I work hard for this, this life that I have. And it frustrates me to no end seeing people that take advantage of others. I don't know, you know?
Well, and on this issue of just unemployment as well, I played a video on my show yesterday of a landlord who made a TikTok, and he basically said that his tenants were living in his home for a year and they refused to pay rent. And he tried to tell them, hey, I have a cabinet making business. And I guess the guy living in his home was a carpenter. He was like, come work for me to pay off your rent if you're struggling right now because of the pandemic, blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
The guy refused. And then his girlfriend was collecting the, unemployment checks with a $300 bonus. They refused to pay him, and he still can't kick them out because that eviction moratorium has been extended until, I believe, October of this year. So he's basically paying for them to live in his home rent free.
It's the worst. I don't understand how. I mean, and that's a tough. Someone in chat said a year ago Adam was a Biden voter. Do they know who I am at all? Are you serious?
You're like, look, just because I look like a cool, chill-ass man who could be a liberal.
You think that I would have ever voted for Biden? Oh, my goodness. Like, goodness. All right. I may have voted Democrat in the past, but
Biden, absolutely not. Even Biden voters regret their vote. So that's a hard
all right. I did vote for Obama in 2008. But that was a long time ago. And I openly talk about how I didn't know what I was doing. I voted blue because I didn't pay attention, and I thought that was like the right side of history, right? I knew at that time. Anyway, we're talking about unemployment. So I saw this today, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Is this real?" Or maybe I saw this the other day. I don't remember. Wait, I don't even know what today's date is. It's the 7th. Okay. So yeah, this was yesterday, and this pissed me off. And honestly, no joke, I thought this was a Babylon Bee article when I first saw this picture. Look at this. Oh, I showed it to you guys earlier. This woman is holding a sign that says unemployment benefits are a lifeline for working people.
Interesting.
Unemployment benefits are a lifeline for working people. I thought this was a joke. I was like, this has to be a joke. This has to be a joke.
You know, Adam, it's kind of funny to me because if you just watch South Park, it's essentially the news now. And that's America in 2021. And we see that every single day with our news headlines and all of our articles, all of these unemployment benefits, the fact that we are printing trillions of dollars and we have capped our,
the debt ceiling.
Yeah, it's insane to me. It's so
They're probably going to raise it too.
Oh gosh,
which is
it's
just
really not a good,
bonkers.
yeah, it's not a good time in America right now, guys. Go invest in other things outside of fiat currency because it's not looking good.
Right?
Hmm.
All right. So this is the article that that I just showed you guys. Pandemic unemployment benefits just expired. What will families do now? An estimated 7.5 million people will be affected. The federal pandemic unemployment benefits ended Monday, which was Labor Day. Kind of funny how they had it land on Labor Day, leaving millions to wonder how they'll end making ends meet for their family. An estimated 7.5 million people will be affected, according to the calculations by the Century Foundation, a progressive think tank. An additional 2.1 million unemployed people will lose the $300 per week federal supplement. And I think that that's different because you said that it was a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that is a separate number. So that 7.5 million people, it probably includes some of the people from this 2.1 million.
Right.
Because it says an additional 2.1 million unemployed. Like they're trying to make it seem like it's actually 9.6 million people. But the way that they wrote it, and it's this bonus. So I think a lot of these people are actually getting this bonus.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to shout out to the Babylon Bee, right? They're hilarious. Man, sometimes they come true, which is just insane how often that time has happened. But they actually have a site called Not the Bee. And it is a news site for news that should be Babylon Bee, but it turns out it is actually real. And this is one of those things. I mean, they're starting to get a little more and more into shoving real news into people's face because it's definitely more conservative. The CEO is super based and hilarious. But they wrote this and it sums it up perfectly. Pandemic benefits have expired and people are freaking out about it. Meanwhile, there are literally 10 million jobs available in the United States. I mean, and this is an actual usage of the term literally. All right, just want to clarify that because some people don't have any idea how to use that. The federal government's enhanced unemployment benefits have offered unemployed Americans a pretty generous financial cushion over the course of the pandemic. For the record, if they're going to shut it down, if they're going to shut the economy down, help the citizens, like, all right, I'm not opposed to this, right? I just want to say that it's not that I was against this. As long as it was, yes. I mean, I was opposed to locking down at all. I don't think we should have done that. So like, that's a different subject, but the government locked it down. So, all right, it helped people out. Sure. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that. I just want to say that. So,
but I do also want to jump in and just remind a lot of people too, that with a lot of these stimulus packages that were passed, how much of a percentage did the American people actually get from these $1 trillion packages? A very, very small percentage. So, just a quick reminder and refresher of where a lot of that money actually went to, because it wasn't to the American people.
My mind goes to a recent debacle, if you would say, in a certain country by the name or by the start of an A, Afghanistan, right? Billions of dollars have been left over there. In fact, we sent money for gender studies, I believe, in that, or maybe that was Pakistan.
That was Pakistan. That was Pakistan.
Excuse
But did you hear that the government actually right now too is trying to print? It's either millions or billions right now to send aid to the Afghanistan people as well.
Treason.
Yeah. So
treason.
That's what's going on right now, guys.
Look, I'm all about helping others, but if you clean your room before you or clean your own house before, what's Jordan Peterson's quote? He's like, clean your house before you criticize others, or something along those lines. And it's like, I mean, America's a mess right now. Don't get me wrong, I love America, but the Democrats are absolutely destroying our country, and we need to stop them. All right, but back to the jobs. So yeah, millions of jobless Americans lost their unemployment benefits on Monday, leaving only a handful of economic support programs for those who have been financially hit. Let's see, 2 critical programs expire. One provided jobless aid to self-employed and gig workers, and other provided benefits to those who have been unemployed for more than 6 months. Further, the Biden administration's $300 weekly supplement unemployment benefit also ran out on Monday. So the headline of that crackerjack I love that crackerjack AP article is jobless Americans will have few options as benefit expire. Democratic Senator Ron Wyden, meanwhile, warned that millions of jobless workers are going to suffer due to the lapse of benefits, while finance analyst Kristen Myers told NPR that a lot of folks here are going to be impacted, and it doesn't seem as if some of the gains that could be made are offsetting some of the losses. Indeed, 8.9 million Americans losing unemployment benefits does seem like a staggering high number. You know what is larger, though? The number of current jobs available throughout the United States. That's right, 10 million jobs are available. This is the tweet where it comes from. It is from an economic news release, job openings and labor turnover summary. The number of job openings increased to a series high at 10.1 million on the last business day of June. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Hires rose to 6.7 million, and total separations edged up to 5.6 million. Within separations, the quits rate increased to 2.7%. The layoff and discharges rate was unchanged at 0.9%. Matching the series low reached last month. This release includes estimates of the number and rate of job openings, hires, separations for the total non-farm sector by industry by 4 geographic regions and established by size classes. Look, if you're on unemployment, don't you need to prove that you're trying to get a job? Isn't that part of the rules? There has been job openings. I've been seeing people posting things like drive-throughs, like nobody's here, we all quit, I'm quitting too, good luck, like unemployment, bye. People posting on the freezer windows at Walmart, like we are hiring. McDonald's is like giving people money, please, just to interview, please come interview with us, we need people working here. They are thirsty for people working, and guess what? People would rather be lazy and collect money from the government instead of earning their keep, working for a living. They are coddled.
Adam, I do want to touch on your first point because you said, shouldn't you have to prove that you're looking for a job? And actually, that is the loophole in the unemployment and how so many people have been able to stay on it. There was a story that came out of the Northeast. Basically, restaurant workers and restaurant owners were saying that the reason they can't hire anybody and the reason people are still on unemployment despite there being so many open jobs is because people just have to prove that they're looking for a job. If they're offered a job, they don't have to necessarily take it. They just have to prove that they're looking for a job. So they can go into an interview and prove to the government, I'm looking for the job. But if they're offered a job, they don't have to accept it. So that's
how far people will go to maintain laziness.
That's the loophole. And so
they'll make it a job to pretend to be getting a job.
Exactly. I believe this restaurant owner in Massachusetts interviewed about 100 people. He couldn't hire any of them because he kept being like, okay, cool, come work. And they were like, nah, I just needed the interviews to get unemployment.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and so that's how it works.
That's kind of how I was saying earlier. People are lazy. There will always be lazy people. If they don't have to work, I mean, that's what strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Yeah. We are literally right there. We have a bunch of weak men wanting to continue the good times. But guess what? Those times are done. All right? Because all these weak, lazy people that don't want to work, that don't want to get up and actually work. All right? They don't want to be, they don't even care about furthering society. They care about furthering themselves. And the best way to do that is to take advantage of these stupid programs that keep people sucking on the tit of government.
Subservient, exactly. That's exactly
Yep.
what this is. And right now, the reason why we're in the 911 emergency per the media for the
Yep.
unemployed is because it seems like we're essentially transitioning from a socialist state back into a capitalist state where people actually have to work for their keep and for their success in this country.
Yep.
And the media doesn't like that very much. The media really doesn't like that we're transitioning away from that socialist state that we were, essentially living through over this past year, where we were all
Yeah.
living off of government handouts. The government decided who could work and who couldn't. The government decided what
Yep.
freedoms we were allowed to have. And so we're now transitioning back into the way America should be running. So that way everyone can decide how successful they want to be individually. And the media hates that. And so does the Biden administration.
Yeah. And you mentioned capitalism too. And I just want to say this because all I see all these people complaining about capitalism.
Mhm.
And every time I hear their complaints, like what they're actually complaining about, they're complaining about corporatism.
Yeah.
They're complaining about the elites, the corporate
Yeah.
like entities that are taking over. Like capitalism in itself is not the same as corporatism.
Mhm.
Corporatism hides behind capitalism and tells everyone to complain about capitalism, even though without capitalism, corporatism doesn't work. I mean, corporatism is essentially turning into communism. These
Yeah.
people that are just want everyone else to do all the work for them and
Mhm.
starve, essentially. I mean, capitalism or communism has only ever killed people. So, I mean, I just hope that it's not too late. I hope that people get off their butts and actually work for a living. I mean, because there's nothing that feels better than working on your own property, your own projects, your own show. I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful for the life that I have. And I mean, I've had some terrible jobs in the past. I've worked and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I'm very grateful for what I have now. And guess what?
Yeah.
I will continue. If YouTube boots me, I'll continue. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing because I really enjoy what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm going to find a job. I need to work. I want to be a father. All right. I'm this close to being a father. Sooner or later, I'm going to have a child, and that's constantly on my mind. I constantly, I'm like, I want to provide. Maybe it's just like, I'm turning into a dad already because I'm like, I need to provide. If there's something I learned from my dad, I learned many things from him. It's to work your butt off to provide for your children when you have kids. And
See, Adam, and I want to make 2 points here. The first point being, because I talked about this yesterday on my show as well, and a lot of people in the comments were saying, well, Savannah, you do have to realize that a lot of these jobs that are open are like at a dollar store, McDonald's. That's not a living wage. That's not a long-term job. And my response to that would be sometimes you have to work jobs that you don't like. But if you start working at McDonald's right now, that doesn't mean that you're in McDonald's or Walmart for the rest of your life. It means you're in a hard time right now. You take the job that you don't like, and then you continue to push forward on your own goals in the meantime. And you work 2 jobs. That's essentially what I'm doing right now, is like working 2 jobs. I have my own thing on the side that I'd like to do, as well as my job that helps me pay the bills. So it's like, people need to realize that you do have to make sacrifices if you want to be successful in this country. And we need to snap out of this mindset of, well, if it's not the job that I want right away, then I just don't want to work at all, because that in itself is a defeatist mindset. And then to my second point,
or entitlement mindset, but continue, please. What is the second point?
Entitlement. I think that word is even better. So thank you for jumping in on that. And then second point, you talking about weak men in this country. That's the reason why the government wants us to stay on these handouts, to stay subservient to them. Because once men really start working and they're proud of what they're doing, they have their family, they have a child and a wife that they want to provide for, those type of men are not going to be the type that are going to be subservient to anybody, really. They are going to put and prioritize their family and their country and their freedoms and their rights above anything. And it's much harder to control that type of person than a person who is on government handouts and is being, fed by the teat of the government, as, we like to talk about. So that's why we are currently in this phase in our society, because the more freedoms that we have, the more we get back to the traditional family and to earning our own, property and things in this country. And we have pride in that. It's harder for us to be controlled. So that's why the government is, keeping us this way.
Boom. I think we just nailed that.